Hello, in this lesson, we are going to be looking at the topic of essay planning. It is absolutely key, and so many students fail to do it. So let's get into it. Our session objectives for today are to understand how to create an effective essay plan that ensures a coherent and focused response. You cannot do this without a plan. We're going to learn to organize ideas logically and structure an essay for maximum impact, and explore different strategies for essay planning, including mind maps, bullet points, and outlines. So, welcome to this session on essay planning. Planning your essay is a crucial step in ensuring that your response is clear, focused, and well organized. And by the end of the session, you will know how to create a detailed essay plan that sets the foundation for a successful essay. Fail to plan and you plan to fail. That 5 or 10 minutes invested in planning at the beginning of your exam is going to pay off no end. So, why planning is essential? So, essay planning helps you organize your ideas and ensures that you cover all aspects of the question. A good plan allows you to stay focused, which is key for those top marks, maintain a clear argument, that conceptualized, cohesive response, and avoids you going off on tangents. And the key benefits are that it ensures a logical progression of ideas, helps you manage time more efficiently in exams, and makes it easier to refer back to the question and maintain a consistent focus. So that thread that runs through your essay. If you haven't already watched the video on writing conceptualized responses, also take a look at that. And as a grade 8 or grade 9 tip, a well-structured plan is the difference between a solid essay and a top grade response. Taking 5 or 10 minutes to plan can save time later and lead to a more coherent essay because you're not stopping and thinking, oh, what do I write next? You know it's there in your plan. So, number one, break down the question. The first step in planning an essay is to break down the question, identify key terms, and understand exactly what the question is asking. Look for command words of the question. So, for example, evaluate, discuss, analyze, and focus on the specific themes or characters mentioned. I have mentioned this before, but don't fear repeating yourself when it comes to the command words of the questions. Don't worry about conjuring up synonyms. Just repeat the words of the question to show you are focused on it. Then, as an example, how does Priestley present social responsibility in an inspector calls? So, break down, focus on social responsibility and how Priestley uses the characters, e.g., the inspector, Mr. Burling, or Sheila, to explore this theme. And you can apply this to whichever text you are studying. And as a grade 8 or grade 9 tip, highlight keywords in the question and use them in your essay plan and throughout your essay, as I've already said. And this ensures that you stay focused on the task and avoid irrelevant information. Number 2, develop a thesis. So before you begin planning, decide on your thesis statement, your big idea. This is your main argument and the answer to the question. Think about what the writer is trying to achieve. And your thesis will guide the structure of your essay and should be referenced in every paragraph in some way. You don't necessarily have to explicitly state, like, this links back to what I said at the beginning, but each of your paragraphs should link back to that overarching idea. So, as an example, in an inspector calls, Priestley presents social responsibility as a moral obligation that transcends class, using the character of the inspector to expose the selfish attitudes of the upper classes and advocate for social change. And as a grade 8 or grade 9 tip, keep your thesis specific and clear. It should answer the question directly and provide a roadmap for your essay. So, number 3, your main points and planning your main points. Next, you want to outline your main points that you're going to cover in your essay. Each point should support your thesis and help answer the questions. That makes sure it's very cohesive and links everything together. Organize your points logically. They should flow from one to the next. So, as an example, point 1, Mr. Burling's selfish attitude reflects a lack of social responsibility. Point 2, Sheila's transformation shows a growing awareness of social duty. And point 3, the inspector's role as a moral authority reinforces Priestley's message of collective responsibility. And as a grade 8 or grade 9 tip, ensure that each paragraph introduces a new idea, but every point must relate back to your thesis. Use signposting language to ensure coherence, such as building on this idea or in contrast. And then number 4, plan your evidence. For each main point, plan the evidence that you will use to support your argument. Your evidence does not just have to be quotations. It can be references to the text, single word quotations, paraphrasing, and as it said, examples or key moments from the text. And ensure your evidence is directly relevant to the point you are making and explain its significance in relation to the question. And if you think you've got a great point, but you can't remember a quotation exactly, Do not plan your essay around the evidence that you've remembered. Use references to the text if you need to, so that your ideas are driving your essay forward. So as an example, point 1, Mr. Burling's selfishness, you could use the quotation, a man has to mind his own business and look after himself. Point 2, Sheila's transformation, but these girls aren't cheap labor, they're people. And point 3, the inspector's role, we are responsible for each other. They're really quite obvious basic quotations, but you get the idea. I am linking my point to the quotation and making sure that those two things seamlessly link together. And as a grade 8 or grade 9 tip for top marks, choose precise quotations and focus on specific words. So if you can, you want to be remembering precise quotations. But when I say precise, I mean actually referencing a point in the text precisely, not necessarily getting every single word of the quotation correct. You want to make sure that your references to the text really apply to the point you are trying to make. And you want to be, as I said, looking at specific words within quotations to analyze in depth. You can use single word quotations and paraphrasing around those single word quotations, and that is absolutely fine if you cannot remember the whole thing. And always explain why the writer uses that particular language or technique. Really dig into the language, focus on the selection of words. Number 5, plan your structure. So now that you have your points and evidence, decide on the structure of your essay. And a typical essay structure follows your introduction, which is going to have your thesis and outline your key points and big idea about the text. You're going to have your body paragraph. So each paragraph covers a single point supported by evidence, and then your conclusions to summarize your argument and reflect on the significance of the text. If you haven't already, go and check out the video on writing introductions and conclusions to support this learning as well. So introduction precedes exploration of societal responsibility and social responsibility. And then you're going to have body paragraphs 1, 2, and 3. So Mr. Belling's lack of responsibility, Sheila's developing of social duty, and the inspector as a moral guide. And then your conclusion precedes message of collective responsibility. You're going to return back to that. So that key idea is going to bookend your essay. And obviously this is a very basic structure, but again, you get the idea. And as a grade 8 or grade 9 tip, ensure your structure is logical. Each paragraph should build on the last, leading to a strong, cohesive argument. And often it is very useful to write your essay in chronological order. So if you're thinking about the development of Sheila across the text or the development of Macbeth across the text, it makes sense to start at the beginning. Even in the case of Macbeth, where they give you an extract, if they've given you an extract from the end of the text and it says starting with this extract, you don't have to start with the extract. When it says starting with the extract, it means use this to generate some ideas and make sure you use the extract. However, you can talk about the extract at the end of your essay if the extract is from the end of the play. So planning techniques, there are different ways to plan your essay and choose a method that works best for you. So you can use a mind map, which is great for brainstorming ideas and visualizing connections between points. You can make bullet points, a simple and effective way to outline your main points and evidence. Or you can do quite a detailed outline, particularly if you're revising at home, so include your thesis, main points, and key quotes. And this helps you ensure that you don't forget important details during the exam. If I were you with revision, I would create detailed plans ahead of time and use those to revise from. But look, in your exam, you absolutely can make a detailed plan. I personally would probably be making a detailed plan for about 10 minutes and then spend 35 minutes writing. But that is just me. That is my preference, and it's all about what you are comfortable with. And then as an example, mind map, you might want to think about the central theme of responsibility. And then on the branches, Mr. Burling, Sheila, the inspector, Priestley's message. And then from there, you're going to add your key quotations. And then you're going to add the words that you might like to look at within those key quotations. And then link in any context as well. It really helps build your essay around the assessment objectives. And as a grade 8 or grade 9 tip, try creating a detailed outline before you start writing. This will help you stay organized and ensure you cover all aspects of the question. And as I said, make some of these detailed outlines at home when you are revising. An example of an essay plan, I know we've gone over this, but just to really reinforce this. So for the question, how does Shakespeare present the theme of guilt in Macbeth? Thesis, this is only brief, but it could be Shakespeare presents guilt as a destructive force that consumes both Macbeth and Lady Macbeth, leading to their eventual downfall. Point 1, Macbeth's guilt after killing Duncan. Will all great Neptune's ocean wash this blood clean from my hand? Point 2, Lady Macbeth's guilt, out to damn spot. Point 3, the consequences of guilt, Macbeth's descent into madness and Lady Macbeth's death. And then you could also add evidence from that. Obviously, I've only written references to this here, but you'd then have a couple of quotations or you'd talk about those in more detail. And then conclusion, guilt is a key theme in Macbeth, driving the character's actions and ultimately leading to their tragic ends. And that's only a very brief idea there. I would build my conclusion in the actual essay writing itself. And as a grade 8 or 9 tip, keep your essay plan flexible. If new ideas arise as you write, adjust your plan accordingly, but always ensure your points support your thesis. So, common pitfalls: not planning at all. Writing without a plan can lead to a disorganized essay and missed points. Do not overload your plan. So don't try to include too much. Focus on the strongest points and evidence. So I would say aim for at least 3 main body paragraphs. You can plan for 4 or 5, but put your 3 strongest paragraphs first to ensure that you cover everything without running out of time. Don't ignore the question. Make sure your plan always comes back to answering the question directly. Remember, I said about repeating things if necessary in terms of the keywords or ideas from the question, but not ideas in each paragraph. Like you want a different idea for each paragraph, I mean. And then as a grade 8 or grade 9 tip, make sure every point in your plan relates directly to the question. If something doesn't support your thesis, leave it out, get rid of it. So just some final thoughts for you then. A well-structured plan is essential for writing a clear and focused essay. It helps you stay on track and ensure that your essay addresses the question effectively. Take time to plan before writing. I cannot stress this enough. It will make your essay more coherent and easier to write. And try it yourself. Choose an essay question and create a detailed plan using the steps that we have covered in this session. Focus on breaking down the question, developing a clear thesis, and organizing your points and evidence. So that brings us to the end of this session. If you found it useful, be sure to check out the other free sessions as well as check out the website where we have hundreds of lessons and resources available to you to really push you to the top of the marks game. And don't forget to follow us on social media as well.